A request that I've seen quite often is for me to make a full battle report for one of my games. So the last game I played, I actually fully intended on doing so. I had everything set up, taking pictures. Well, Steve took the pictures because his phone is better, but I had pictures at every single point of the game that would have made sense to have a picture, ready to do a battle report. Problem is, the game is actually kind of garbage. As a very brief summary, Thousand Suns are just better than Death Guard. Death Guard are pretty much garbage. Perhaps their fate will change in the next balanced data slate. It was quite a long game, but it was only 2 turns because I was just absolutely going crazy trying to work out how to actually play Thousand Suns. But yeah, in the end, not really worth making a battle report when the game is decided because someone had the audacity to pick the wrong army. To be honest, I can't believe Steve had the gall to pick one of his favorite armies that he's really nicely painted up to try and play with in 10th edition. What an absolute fool. Doesn't he know just to play Eldari? So all of this prep work I've done is straight into the garbage. We're going to talk about Gaslands instead. Do you like cars? Do you like Mad Max? Do you like racing games? You like... Whether or not you answered yes or no to any of those questions, it doesn't matter. Gaslands is incredible, and I highly recommend you try it. After getting set up and learning the rules, it literally took me 1 move to realize that this is going to be one of my favorite games to play. Gaslands, developed by Osprey Games, is a game where you take toy Matchbox cars and race them in a post-apocalyptic deathmatch. It's a fairly easy game to get into, low barriers for entry, but there's still quite a lot of complexity in here, but at the end of the day, it's just a fun, enjoyable, chaotic game. Getting involved is very easy. You need the rulebook, or you can use the free online simplified rules, which just have the basics in there. You need the movement template, again, which can be downloaded from the website. You need some Matchbox cars or some sort of miniature car. If you don't have any to hand, they actually have a scaling option to make sure that you scale the movement markers for stuff like 32 mil. So if you want to use a Space Marine biker, for example, go ahead. But Matchbox cars are pretty cheap if you haven't got any. Steve managed to pick up 6 for £1 at a local charity shop, so very easy to get into. Got a lot of fun customization you can do with the cars, loads of weapon options, and you can slap a bit of rust on there, raid your bits box for some extra weapons, and just go absolutely nuts. Set up your course. We usually just did a figure of 8 because it was fairly simple to get into and easy to learn the game through that, but you can really do whatever you want. You can go absolutely mental with it if you really want to. There's a couple of things that really drew me to this game. Firstly, the rulebook itself. It seems like any page you turn to will either have a really cool looking picture or a really interesting or fun rule. The pictures are a mix of nice artwork or some really fun examples of some cool conversions people have done with these toy cars. And some of the random rules that you come across just seem really interesting and really spice up your game. The second thing is just the rules that they have just really amplify the fun aspect. You can definitely still try and be a bit tactical, and that is still quite good, but mostly there is just a high degree of elements of fun in this. For example, the movement markers. When you pick your car, you decide which of the movement markers you want to use. Either you want to go straight or turn or whatever you want to do. However, all of these markers are on the board. As soon as you touch any of them, you have to use it. There is no pre-measuring allowed. You have to eyeball it. And if you make the wrong choice, whoops, guess you're crashing into a wall. And if you accidentally touch one that you can't use because you're in the wrong gear, your opponent gets to choose which one you use instead. It makes it feel like you're actually really driving the car because, you know, if you're in an apocalyptic death race, you really don't have time to try and judge what the turn's going to do. You just got to go for it. And to help you can then roll some dice, a number of dice equal to a certain stat was part of your vehicle. These can help you spin and swerve, which also help with certain amount of movement. Spinning, which allows you to rotate at the end of a movement marker to face a different direction, or swerving, in which case you use this extra movement marker here and add it to the notch in the regular one, which allows you to swerve wide. This can be very useful if you're trying to avoid certain things, if you've misjudged something. But of course, to get those, you have to roll the dice, and if you don't get it, well, I guess you're not swerving or spinning. Or if you wanted to roll the dice for other reasons, so you accidentally start swerving, well, you got to try and work with that. Once you have picked up a marker, you can flip it either way, so it isn't just a you put it down and you're instantly not allowed to use it anymore. That marker has some variance. If you've got a turn, you can turn left or right. So you could potentially, if you accidentally roll something like a swerve, flip the marker to try and swerve out of danger. And then, of course, crashing. Absolutely hilarious, and so much fun is had just by crashing into each other. The literal first move I ever made in this game was to send a biker at a 45-degree angle right into someone's car, which just caused an absolute chaotic, explosion-filled bloodbath at the start of the first turn of the race. And then you look through the rulebook, and there's so many good things in here, so many fun things you can do. Item boxes. Who doesn't love item boxes? Look at some of these amazing weapon options here. Wrecking balls, walls of amplifiers, harpoons, flamethrowers, whatever the kinetic super booster is, I don't know what that is, a magnetic jammer, Molotov cocktails, you just start lobbing Molotov cocktails outside of the car, arc lightning projectors. I mean, look at all this cool stuff. And you could go for a standard car, or you could go for one of the many different vehicle options, from drag racers to bikes to performance cars, trucks. There's a gyrocopter in here, an ambulance, monster trucks, tanks, war rigs. We've had so many ideas after just playing a couple of games. Getting a model train track and just starting having that go around with some guns on it and trying to avoid that like it's Calamari Desert. The book says you could use these as a baseline for different time periods, so an F-Zero GX or F-Zero X type racing would be amazing. Just bumping into each other and having loops and barrel rolls and tunnels, all that kind of stuff. And a figure-of-8 racetrack is fairly simple, right? Fairly wide and easy turns, and the main thing was just trying to avoid being shot by each other, so doing a lot of swerves to make sure we weren't in the line of fire. And the figure-of-8 gives you a crossing over point, which is also quite good if someone does get a bit too far ahead. But you could make this so much more complicated. I mean, you have to start gearing down, gearing up, all that stuff. The first game I played was just me versus Steve. We had about 3 or 4 vehicles each, and it took about 2 hours. That included talking about the rules, learning the rules, setting up the cars, and then finishing the game. All in all, took 2 hours. Second game we played was 4 players. Again, 2 people new to the game, so teaching them the rules and learning as we go. 1 car each with only 1 weapon, so it's a bit simpler. That only took an hour and a half. So it's a quick, easy game to get into. Lots of variety in here. Loads of different types of scenarios as well you can try. So like chasing down a rig, rolling roads. You can do whatever you want with any sort of the courses you do. Multiple laps. So many options for vehicles, weapons. But it's just a joy to play. And it's one of those games as well where something like 40k or Warhammer, they're quite meaty games that require a lot more to get into. This is a game you could take to a board game event. It's no more complicated than something like the Game of Thrones board game. Yeah, there's a big rule book, but most of that is scenarios and little interactions with other weapons. You can simplify this down to just 1 car, 1 gun, and it's still a lot of fun. It's a game where if you're on the same page, you just have so much fun, so many good times with it. Even if you lose, it doesn't matter because you've still just done so much damage and just done some amazingly cinematic, very silly things with a car. And it's probably one of the perfect games to play after maybe a game of Warhammer has left a bad taste in your mouth. As much fun as it did have with that Thousand Suns for the Death Guard game, that's probably mostly because I was winning. If I was on the Death Guard side, it would not be a fun game at all. So go play Gaslands, go get yourself a little toy car and just have a blast. Are there any games like this that you think I should try? Then let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I love hearing all of your suggestions. And that'll be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you did... Hey, what's that up in the sky? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Alchemist Models and a wide variety of high-quality 3D prints from his website, alchemistmodels.com. Why on earth is he flying? Hey, why don't you shut up a second and listen? If you're looking for a fun and exciting new model for your fancy or futuristic wargaming, or are you looking to get into Gaslands or want some cool vehicles or parts for your own vehicle, then check out alchemistmodels.com for a wide variety of amazing 3D prints from loads of different sources, an ever-growing catalogue of amazing 3D prints, and free shipping for orders over £50 in the UK and £100 for the rest of the world. And also, Alchemist Models can fly! So thank you for Alchemist Models for sponsoring this video, and go to alchemistmodels.com to get your next project. And it better be Gaslands rated, otherwise I'll learn to fly and I'll come to your house. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.